Hello, Rachel. You're muted. You are muted, girl. I can hear you.
Thank
Oh, now
you.
I hear you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. How's your week going?
Everything's okay. So happy to be sharing with everyone today. We have an
Yeah,
interesting project to accomplish together, right?
yeah, definitely. And it's awesome because there's nothing like when you are learning and building at the same time. It's actually perfect. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. Let
yeah,
me let me share my screen so people know who we are and what we are doing here.
yeah,
So for everyone to know, I am Ivana Tilca. I'm a Microsoft MVP in AI and Azure, and I also work at a company called Aleda. You have the name in there to follow me on any social media. And who am I talking to? Can you introduce
yeah,
yourself, Rachel?
yeah, sure, definitely. My name is Rachel Irabor. I'm a Microsoft Power Platform developer, a Dynamics 365 CRM developer, and a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, which is amazing. Yeah.
Do you know that I used to be a Microsoft Student Ambassador too, right?
Really? That's nice. I had no idea.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, so your next step is probably becoming a Microsoft MVP.
Yeah.
So today we're here to talk about images,
Yes.
analyzing images, and generating images. For everyone to know, you can go ahead and take a look at that URL or that QR if you want to follow the code
Yeah.
that we are going to be introducing. But we are not alone, right?
Yes. Yeah. We are nuts. We have Kaluta.
We
She's got
have
our back.
Carlota.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think she's in Italy. I'm in Argentina and you are in Malta. So the entire
Yes.
work
I'm in
together through
Malta.
AI. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Carlota
Yeah.
will be moderating the chat. So go ahead and ask her questions, ask her where to follow her, ask her
Yeah.
about the next. I know that there are going coming other events about this series,
Yes.
but
Yeah. The series has a lot of project challenges you can work on. Like I said before, like there's nothing like when you're learning and building at the same time. This Learn Life
mhm.
series has so many projects you can work on and with AI, which is amazing. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
again, so we're going to do this challenge today. We're going to do our best, guys. So, first of all, the first part of the training is going to be video because some
Yeah.
creation and some things are going to take a while to be created. So we have to cut that. But the next part of the session is going to be coding. Hopefully, everything will turn out fine.
Yeah.
But you know, guys, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Now, say hi. I'm hoping
Yeah.
Carlota will.
Wherever you're joining us from, just say hi.
Yes. If we have people from Malta, I want to hear you guys. Go, Rachel.
Yeah.
I know probably we have some people from Latin America over there, so greetings to everyone.
Yeah.
Great. So, do you want to talk about this, Rachel? This is all yours.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you. And anywhere you're joining us, please just say hi and mention the country you're joining us from because I'm joining from Malta. And Ivana, where are you joining from? If you can mention that again.
Argentina.
Argentina.
Argentina. Lionel
So
Messi.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, good. So today we are going to be working on a project learning paths, which is amazing because you get to go through the learning paths and also you get to join us on a hands-on session where we are showing you how to build the step-by-step process. So you can imagine, amazing. And you get to work with OpenAI, you get to work with Azure resources, you get to work with Visual Studio Code, GitHub, like so many platforms all together. So I don't think there's anything more than this. It's amazing. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Let's go ahead and take a look at what else are we going to talk about.
yeah, computer vision. So what do you think is computer vision for you, Ivana? Because there's so many
Uh,
definitions out there.
how to see with a computer. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. How do I
Yeah,
see with a computer? How a computer
yeah,
sees,
yeah,
maybe. Can you tell
yeah.
me what it is?
Yeah, I think it's really amazing because you get to analyze images. You get to, I think there's something I was working on recently on computer vision in Power Platform. you get to actually capture like different dogs. Maybe you have different breeds of dogs and you want to know what particular breed that dog is. You can use computer vision to know what breed that dog is, which is amazing. And there's so many things that computer vision is being done with. Yeah. So good.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So I always think of imagine now how many things we can build if we can make the computer see the world and
Yeah.
understand the world.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see how easy it is to do that.
Yeah.
Now, what are we building?
Definitely. Okay. So we are building like a platform, an app where you get to analyze images. You get to write your words like, okay, this is what I want. And computer vision builds that for you. It's amazing, definitely. So you can see on the screen, you are a developer working for a company that wishes to provide a web application to its employees, assisting them in their content development daily job. Like so many things that you don't have to be doing manually, this helps you to make your job easier for you and also increases productivity. Yeah. Hi,
Awesome.
Ivana. Yeah.
Great. So now, what else do we have?
Okay. If you are joining this live hands-on session, you definitely need your Azure account. Like it's so important. You need your Azure account. And if you're a student, you're thinking about, okay, I have to create an Azure account. How do I go about it? You can use the Azure student account. You can apply for your Azure student account, which is free. And if you're not a student, you're also reasoning, okay, how can I use Azure for this particular series or this particular project? You can use a
Mhm.
trial. You can use Azure Trial to work on this project. Yeah, so good. And you also need your Visual Studio Code downloaded. If you go through this learning paths, if you go through this project learning paths, you are going to see the links to download your Visual Studio Code. You're going to see the link to download your Node.js. And also you need a GitHub account. Very, very important. You need a GitHub account and you need an Azure Static Web Apps in your VS Code, which is an extension. And I'm going to be showing you that. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So this is the part that we needed to record because it can take a while if we do it live. Okay? So
Yeah.
you all yours if you can explain. I will mute myself.
Okay, sure. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So, hi everyone. This is my GitHub account. Like I said, you need a GitHub account. And I am using template, a repository template to build this repository. So I just have to go to the link, which is linked in the learning path. And then I go ahead and give this repository a name, which is analyze. Okay. We're going to be going step by step. Analyze dash and generate dash images with Azure AI dash with Azure AI. And it's totally okay to give this GitHub repository a description in order to understand what this repository is about. So maybe it's been long, you went back to this repository, you can give it a description. But we are going to be leaving that and just scroll down. Okay. We're going to be scrolling down and we are going to be using public instead of using private repository. And we're going to go ahead and click on create repository. Okay, that's perfect. It's generating our repository for us. We're just going to wait for a few seconds. And voila, we have it here. And we are going to go through what this repository is about. You can see it's an Azure Static Web App, which allows you to easily build React apps in minutes. So we're just going to go through this. And then the next thing we are going to go to our Visual Studio Code. So there's an easy access that is rather easy for me. I want to clone that repository, and I'm going to clone it through using my source control. And by copying the link of that GitHub repository, I'm going to go back to, just going to show you again, copy it, go back to Visual Studio Code, and click on Clone Repository and paste that link. Then click on Clone from GitHub. So from this point, I'm going to be creating a new folder for our repository. And I'm going to give it the same name we had on our repository, which is our analyze dash, okay? And, okay, generate dash, images dash, with dash, Azure dash AI. Yeah. We're going to click out of it, then click it, and then click on select repository destination. And open, click on open. So perfect, we have our repository here with us on Visual Studio Code. So we're just going to look through what we have here on the repository. I'm going to go to SROC, check on what we have here. Okay. And if you have any question, just feel free to ask your questions. And like I said, we need an extension, which is an Azure Static Web App. So we're just going to look for it on our extension by going to the left-hand side of our screen. And I have it there. Just going to click on it. It's going to be different for me because I already have it installed. But if you did not have it installed, you're going to see where you need to click install. So please click on it. Yeah. So I hope we are together. And I have my GitHub account signed into my Visual Studio Code. Yeah. So I'm just going to remove that. Going to clear our screen to make it a little bit easier and yeah, easier to understand. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is to go back and go to Azure, Microsoft Azure portals. Okay, so we are going to go to Microsoft Azure portals and create our static web app resource group by clicking on Marketplace. And we are going to look for our Azure Static Web App. Okay. And then you can see it, we have our Static Web App. We're just going to scroll down and then click on Create. Click on Static Web App. And it's going to move us to another screen where we have our subscription. So for me, I have my subscription on the Visual Studio Code Enterprise. So yours might be different. So you don't have to be worried about that. That is why I have my own subscription. So we're going to go to resource group. I have different resource group, but I want to create a new one. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to name it Learn Life. I want to show you something here. So if I tried just Learn Life without the dash, it's not going to work. Let's see how that happens. So Learn Life like this is not going to work because I have to have a dash, an underscore between them. I'm going to correct that and then click on OK. And then the next thing you can see is already selected. I'm going to scroll down and name our static web app. Okay. So let's try different names. Okay. Okay, let's try image and, okay. image analysis, it's showing an invalid character because there is no underscore or dash between them. So I'm just going to try something else too to show you. These are just examples to show you, just in case if you are building yours and you are thinking, okay, Rachel built this and she had no error. I just want to show you like errors that you can have when you are creating your resource group. So the same thing. And this is not because the names I am using, it's because the way I have put those names, that is why it is coming up that way. So this time I'm going to name it Azure AI. Okay. The same thing. So let's clear that and make it the way it's supposed to be. And then scroll down. So for hosting plans, okay, Azure AI app. For hosting plans, we have different plan types. We have the free and we have the standard. I advise you to go for the free, which is for hobbies or personal projects. And for your region, I'll be going for West Europe. We're going for West Europe. And deployment details. We have different sources. We have our GitHub. We also have our Azure DevOps. And we have our other. So you can see I'm signed into my GitHub account. And if I was not signed into my GitHub account, I had to sign in and then authorize Azure Static Web App to my GitHub account. You can see that. So I had to authorize it. So I'm just going to show you how it looks like if it is not GitHub. So it's going to be different. And also if it's other, it's also going to be different. So let's go back to GitHub. And for our organization, it's showing my name, which is Uche Mena, the username I have on GitHub. So I'm just going to show you why that is showing there. So if you can see, my name on GitHub is Uche Mena. So I'm going to go back to Azure Portals. And the next thing is our repository. So you can see it's showing analyze and generate images with Azure AI, which is coming from my GitHub account. And for our branch, we are going to be selecting main branch. So this step now, we are actually on build presets. So for build presets, we are going to be using React. So I'm just going to click on that. Scroll down. We have our preview workflow file. Well, we don't have time to check that, so we're just going to, but just have it in mind that we're going to have a workflow configuration. Okay. So let's scroll up. Okay. And if you have a question, please feel free to ask your question. If you have a question, if you think that there's anything I have done that you would like to ask about, please just ask your question. Okay, so we're just going to scroll up.
Are you there, Rachel?
Yes, I am. Hi, Ivana.
So, hello, I'm again
Yeah.
here. So now you created your repository. Now what should we do? So we create this part.
Yeah,
right?
we are going to go back to that video. Go back to the one before this. Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah. Good.
No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to scroll up. Yeah, perfect. And we have tags. So you can create your tag for this. You have your tag names, enable your categories for your resources, but we're not going to be doing any of this. So we are just going to move to review plus create. Okay. So now you can see every information that we just did. My subscription ID is covered, but we have our resource group naming. We have everything there. And you can see the repository is actually this link, which is what we have here for our repository. So you don't think that, okay, where are we getting all this information from? So we are going to go ahead and click on create. Okay. So it's submitting our deployment. Deployment is in progress. Okay. Excuse. So we are just going to click on go to resource. Okay. So when we get here to resource, we have our URL, we have our source, deployment history, and also our edit workflow. So we're just going to get our URL to see how it looks like. Okay, just going to copy that and paste it on our browser so we can see what is actually on the templates from the GitHub. So we don't have it yet. We don't have it yet showing, and that is totally fine. In case if you have checked too and you are seeing this on your screen, this is totally okay. We are going to come back to check to see if anything has been done, if the changes is showing yet on our screen. Okay. So now we are going to go to Visual Studio Code. So we're going to come here to Visual Studio Code. We already have everything here. We have our Azure Static Web App. We also have our extension already in our Visual Studio Code. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is to just click on Ctrl+J, which is a shortcut for us to open our terminal in Visual Studio Code. And we are going to run npm install. Okay, let's see. Hopefully this works. Hi, Ivana.
Yeah, so don't be scared if that takes you a lot of time, because sometimes the installation of npm and all the things that dependencies that we have in there,
Yeah.
that takes your time.
Yeah, it's a lot actually. Yeah. So, yeah.
Awesome.
And okay. We're just waiting for that. So we're just trying to see what we have on the repository while we wait for the npm install. Don't have to wait too much for it. Okay. So we're just going to go back
Until we have that. Did you know there is a possibility
Yeah.
to also create the static web app directly from Visual Studio Code?
Yeah, it is actually. This what's showing now, it's our hello world of what we got from the URL in Azure. But for what you said for creating your resource group, I noticed it and I was like, okay, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, it's actually perfect. Yeah, and kudos to Visual Studio Code. Yeah, kudos to them. Okay, and I'm just going to work around this. Yep, just waiting a bit. And we have, while we wait, we have our package.log.json and we also have our package.json. So these two might seem familiar and you say, okay, I want to make changes. Why don't I go to package.log.json? I'm not going to advise you to do that. I'm going to advise you to go to package.json because any changes you make on package.json is going to show on your package.log.json. But if you make it on your package.log.json, it's not going to show on your package.json. I don't know if I wrapped that so much. Yeah, so let's change that. Yeah. So we are going to make some changes on package.json. Can I have the screen larger? Okay, so we are just going to make changes. We're going to change it to Azure, then 1.6.2, then change the React DOM to 18, from 16 to 18.2. Okay. Then we are going to change our React script to the latest version, which is 5.0.1. Yep, perfect. We are doing something here that we are going to try to resolve. If you also have an issue like this on our, you're just going to say, let's just go ahead together and see how to resolve the issue that maybe you might come up with. So we have, okay, so npm install has finished running. So let's try a few things on our terminal. Okay, I think we have to wait a bit. Okay, let's try that. npm start. Okay, I'll just wait a bit for this to run. I think for me, the perfect way to learn is actually saying that, okay, what I'm doing can actually break if I make mistakes. So you can see when we use our npm start, it took us to a page that there's nothing there. Okay, it took us to a page that there's nothing there. And we should try that again to see where the issue is coming from. Just to be sure, like, okay, what's happening?
As we were saying before we started the session, it's difficult to give a presentation, a live presentation, especially when it comes to code, because sometimes things don't work and you don't know why they don't work.
Yeah, like the god of demo is just going to like, okay, sit this out. Yeah, sure. Okay. So we are just looking through what we did already, the stages. This is not showing yet, and that's fine. The package.json and package.log.json, nothing is showing yet on that particular place, and that's okay. Yeah, because you have to. Okay, let's just wait a bit to see how well this runs, to see, okay, maybe it was the terminal's mistake or if the mistake is coming from us.
While we wait, did you know we have audiences from New York, from Seattle, from Denmark? So
Really? That's
yeah, and
nice.
from India.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. Yeah. There's nothing like learning. Yeah, learning is great.
Yeah.
So we can also see that we can reach that particular page. Okay. We can reach that particular page. So definitely the issue has to be my fault and not the fault from the terminal. So let's try opening that repository by using cd and then using the name of the repository. So now we are trying to check what the issue is by opening the repository. Yeah. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your question.
Yeah, we have Carlota moderating the chat.
Yeah,
So,
I think
yeah,
Carlota is
more than
handling
welcome.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Carlota is amazing. Okay. So it's saying that that particular repository does not exist. So why, when we actually created it and we already have it on our local desktop, so let us see how to resolve that. Okay. And I hope you are not having any issues like me. And if you're having any issues, you just know that, okay, while I'm building or I'm working on this project, these are possible bugs I can have, or possible issues I can have. And you can say, okay, this is the way Rachel solved it, or this is the way it was solved. So, okay, so I'm good. I can solve this particular issue. I'm not stuck. Okay, so
Yeah,
we
that's
just
how you
used,
learn.
yeah, it is. You break and learn.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we had ls, and that is still not working. So let's try autosave just to make sure. Okay, just wait a bit.
Fingers crossed. Finger crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
I think it's going to work.
Yeah, it definitely would. I think we
There
are
we
almost there.
go.
No, it's failing, it's
Oh,
failing, it's failing. Yeah, it's failing.
is
I think, yeah, I think we're just going to run this last, and you're going to move to the next slide, please. Just wait a moment.
okay.
Then, yeah, move to the next slide. I think we have so much to build that we don't have to break so many times. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think you should move us to the next
Okay,
slide.
great. So
Yeah,
let me go. What happens? So in here, the demo is working, right?
yeah. On the next slide, everything is working because we're able to figure
Mm-hmm.
out what the particular issue is. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can notice on that changes we made, we did axiom, which was supposed to be axios. Like,
Oh, oh goodness. Can you believe it
yeah,
happens to me a lot of times?
yeah. We that was a mistake. Instead of using axios, we use axiom. So maybe you're listening and you might make that same mistake. You'd be like, okay, it's not supposed to be axiom, it's supposed to be axios. Yeah.
I'm always missing a word or a letter or a dot or
Yeah,
and
it happens.
try to research the entire internet of what's happening here and it was just
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, especially with the error message, you're trying to paste it to say, okay, I want to know what the error is, if anybody else has had the same error and how they fixed it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Okay.
So what we are building right now is the project. After that, what do you have
Yeah.
prepared? Because now we need to, before adding the AI that we're going to throw here in order to
Yeah.
to analyze images. Because what we're
Yeah.
going to do, Rachel, in my part of the demo is grabbing an image. Actually, it's
Okay.
a really cute images of a puppy because I love puppies. I have two of them.
Yeah.
And
I
we're
love
going
cats.
to,
Yeah.
oh, you're a cat person. I'm a dog person.
Yeah.
We are going to make Azure read what is on that picture, and then we are going to use
Yeah.
DALL-E in order to generate a new image that never existed. Okay.
Yeah.
So before doing that, we need to prepare something. I mean, are we going to interact with the application?
Yeah. Sure.
What do we
I
need to
think,
build?
yeah, we just need to work on this step-by-step process and also
Mhm.
design. We have to, after this, like on the screen, you were seeing hello world. We have to make changes to that, which is the next step we are going to do. And I think this presentation should be larger enough for me to see so I can explain what's happening on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
If we can remove us from the screen and show people the entire
Yeah.
screen, please.
Yes. If we can have the screen expanded, that would be
Okay.
great.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So what we did here, what is happening, I don't know why the screen is not so clear, but I'm just going to explain to you what is happening on the background. So what was changed was just from the axiom to the axios, which was just by removing that M and putting an X at the end. And then we went to our terminal and we used npm install. After using npm install, then we used npm start. So that is what is just happening on the background right now. And it's going to bring something different for us. It's not going to give us an error message. So we are safe. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, until
Okay.
NPM works. We have people from Florida and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's
I
nice.
had I had the opportunity to travel to Florida. I love that city. I
Yeah,
went to parks over there. Amazing. So if
yeah, that's really
anyone
nice.
has, yeah, they are. They're
Yeah,
pretty extreme, I would say.
yeah. I actually was planning to travel to the Microsoft Power Platform conference, but I had a little bit of delay. So hopefully next year, fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed, definitely. And to everyone on the call, hope we all have our GitHub accounts created. We have our Azure accounts created, and we are following the step-by-step process. You know, yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah. Okay, we are just waiting a bit for this. Don't worry, we do not have so much time remaining. Very soon, we are going to move to Ivana. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I will try to cover my cards in the less time,
Yeah,
in the less
okay.
amount of time I can.
Yeah, sure. We are just almost done. It's taking a lot of time to load. Just give it a few minutes. I don't know. Okay. So we are going to go for npm start, which is the last thing, and it's going to show. Okay. Just wait a moment. And don't be scared if you are saying the message of 10 vulnerabilities. Don't be scared about that. Yeah, you're totally safe. Yeah. Okay. Let's
Awesome.
see what happens here.
We are going to party. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know Seth Juarez.
Okay.
Oh, it
Shine.
worked.
It's working.
It's working,
Okay.
girl.
And that's perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we are moving to the next stage. So you can say it's good to break things because, yep, it's good to break things.
You learn.
Yeah, you learn. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So we are just
Awesome. Oh,
going
now,
to,
which one is your next step?
yeah, just going to go to app.js and make changes there. I want to make changes on the HTML text we have there for the screen not to show hello world anymore. I don't I think I'm over the hello world. Yeah, I'm over the hello world right now. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to be using is return, open a bracket. Okay. Just going to give a space and then open div. Okay. And it's fine if you do not, if you think that, okay, I don't know HTML, how am I going to go about this? Just copy. Just copy, just follow the step-by-step process. Okay, H1, which is your heading, and then we are going to open, okay, that less than, greater than, we're just going to open that. Just wait a bit. So input type, okay, type equals to, hi Ivana, if you can take us to the next screen, that would be awesome.
Okay, there we
Yep,
are.
we are almost at the end. So good.
Almost at the end.
Yeah, yeah. I think we have just 5 minutes remaining.
So, okay, I think we have the app over there.
Yeah.
Want to move the next one?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Not a
Yeah,
problem.
perfect. Okay. Yeah, right there.
Okay,
So yeah, if we can make the screen bigger. So we just go for placeholder. It's already suggested to us. Then we enter our quotes. We're not going to be using one quote. We're going to be using double quotes. Okay. Then we write enter and also URL, or going to be using small alphabets for our or, and then textual prompts. and then close this with a double quote. And then you have your slash, and then your little. So I'm going to move to the next place by just clicking on enter. So button, click on the next place. So open, okay, analyze, text. Yeah, okay, I think I got that wrong. Analyze image. We're going to go to the next step. We're creating another button. Okay, so we have button and it closes. We're just going to write on the middle of it, generate image. No, generate image. Yeah, got that. And then we're going to go to the down of it just to close this to avoid errors. Just going to close that to avoid errors. Then I think, yeah. So we are going to go back and try using this. I think this is why I stopped, but it's going to be showing differently from your Hello World. I think Ivana is going to take over that and just show you how it works, how where your screen is going to change, how it's going to show it. Yeah, definitely. So just take it over. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so she mentioned that I'm supposed to show what's going to happen now. Okay, so this is what Rachel just coded in her demo.
Yeah.
And let's go ahead and see what it looks like. Okay.
Yes.
I tend to speak pretty fast, so if I do it, Rachel, please stop me.
Okay, so I will.
I like
Definitely.
a lot. Yeah. Awesome. So she just generated HTML. She didn't call to any Azure resource. She didn't call to any code behind, etc. So let's see what this brings us. So we are not designers with Rachel, so we try to do our best for this to work as expected. So what you will see here is the title, and then you will see an input and two buttons, right? So this is the buttons. We are going to work with two different resources, which we spoke with Rachel, and she showed each one of them. One was computer vision, and the other one is DALL-E, which we are going to generate images. That's why here we are saying enter URL to analyze an image. We are going to enter a URL or a prompt in the case we want to generate an image from a prompt. Okay?
Yeah, so, I think yes. Hi, Ivana. I think there's something I missed that is very, very important and everybody needs to be aware of. And that is Azure OpenAI. You need to request for it. You need to go to the form. And that's why I would advise you to go to the learning path. Very, very important because the link is there. You just have to click on it and it will take you to the page, to the form to request for it. Yeah. So
absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So what I have in here is the My Static Web App, which is the same one that Rachel created, but my name, I tend to name everything much more shorter. So as you will see, mine is called AI Learn One. So that's My Static Web App. Yeah. But I'm going to go to the resource in which I am working. I have the Static Web App in here. And I'm going to create the first service that we are going to use, which is the computer vision. So if this is the first time that you guys are using this, I will explain this pretty high level. Basically, you go to the resource that you want to create, just click on create. This will lead you to a form. In here, you have the subscription in which is going to be created. But the most important thing in our case, in this example, is that you create this one in the same resource group, which is like a digital folder on the cloud, in which we have our static web app. Then we can select the region in which we are going to be hosting this resource. I'm creating this in the same region that I created my static web app. I'm going to name it. So let's call it very simple. And then we need to select a price tier. I'm going to select the only one that is available on my account. And then finally, I check that I acknowledge that I read all the things and I'm not going to do anything bad with AI. We need to be good citizens and use AI for helping people, okay? Now, once we have everything completed, we will go ahead and generate our resource. Now, I will move until this completes. I will move myself to another site. Why? Because sometimes when I start learning about different APIs and how they work, it is important to understand what information I need to send to the API and what information we need to receive, or what are we going to receive. So I usually have this. Let me go ahead and paste it on the chat so people can send it to you guys. So this is a website that Microsoft has available that we can go ahead and test the APIs that we have created for ourselves in Azure. So in here, you can see that in this case, we have resourcename.cognitiveservice.azure.com, openai.azure.com, or east.us.api.cognitive.microsoft.com. So we are going to use this one. And how do I know that I need to use this one in order to test? Because once our resource was created, I will go to my resource, and in my keys and endpoint, you will see that your endpoint has that URL at the end. So this is the name of the resource that you created, which means that we are going to use that name here, okay?
Yeah.
So now
Hi, Ivana.
Yes.
Hi, Ivana. Okay, so I want to ask a question. The resource name, is it coming from the Azure Static Web App, or where is it coming from? The resource group?
My resource group is we created that resource group when we created our static web app.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
it's
Yeah.
like a virtual folder that will contain inside all the different, in this case, our static web app, our computer vision service, and our Azure OpenAI service to consume Dali. Okay?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, yes, it is. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So now we need to know what exactly are the parameters we need to send to computer vision in order for computer vision to analyze our image. And the two I want to understand, or I want to get, is the caption, and I want it to read the image. Then what else we have? We have a specific model name. In this case, we don't. The language, I'm going to leave it in English. And then we have in here a content type. He already knows that it's going to be a JSON, but in here we have the keys. So what I'm going to do is copy the key that we have in here. I'm going to copy it in there. And now, I was telling you that I have a puppy. This is my puppy. This is not my puppy.
Yeah.
This is a picture of a puppy. My puppy is over there,
Yeah.
but it's a
Yeah, so
German Shepherd.
cute. Yeah.
Yes, so I'm going to ask computer vision to analyze this puppy, okay? Let me put it in here. And what I'm going to do, now that I have an example of what's the request body that I'm going to send to Azure, I'm going to paste in there the URL of that image. Now that I have everything, did I tell you guys that sometimes things don't work as we expected? Well, every time you create this resource, it takes its time to be created on the cloud and for you to consume it. So probably this will give an error. Hopefully it doesn't. Fingers crossed. Permission denied.
Yeah.
I told you guys this would give an error, but that's why I already have one of our a same call, as you can see. This is another. This is also a computer visions. This also has caption read. This also have in here. It has my key. It has my URL. And in this case, I went and made the call to the API, and I got this response. So this is what the API is going to give us. This is going to give us the description of the image. So we have a puppy sitting in the grass, okay? And then we have the height and the width and the angle and all the information that probably is useful for us or not, okay? But why did Ivana show you this? If this is the first time you're working with an API, I always like to see which one are the things that we are interacting with. So I'm going to bring my notepad. And so we have, first of all, we have an endpoint. This is something important that we can get from here, okay? So we already have that endpoint. We have the API key, and we're going to put it later, which is the key that we're going to use in order to consume the service. Now, why do we need this? Because this is giving us the request URL, which is something that we are going to be using to consume the API, but not the entire URL, because we need to create that in code, okay? So the only part that I'm going to be using of this URL is this one. So before features, okay? So let's go ahead and copy this. And so I'm going to have, the URL.
Hi,
It's going to be
Ivana.
that one. Yes.
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. Like, we are seeing so many things that you are doing on the screen, but I want to understand what is the purpose for our getting our endpoints, our API key, and also our URL.
In order to use the service that Microsoft is providing us. So there is, in computer vision in the cloud, there is an AI model that you
Yeah.
send some information, it will make its magic that only Microsoft knows,
Yep.
and it will return information to us, okay? So
Okay.
that's what
Yeah.
we did in this example. So what we did was we sent information. In this information, we send an image,
Yes.
okay? And we are asking the model inside the cloud to read what is inside that image. And that's what
Okay.
he's replying in here, okay?
Yeah.
So in order to go and do that request to the cloud and for us to get that information, we need to respect some requests that, I don't know,
Okay.
programming,
Yeah.
actually is how we call an API in programming,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. So what I was saying to you guys. 1 second. So we already have the URL, but take a look at this. This part of the URL that we have in here is exactly this one, right? So as part of our URL, we have our endpoint. So I will go ahead in here. This is just for you to understand what is happening. This we can say that is our endpoint plus the rest of the things that we need, okay? Now, there is another thing that this site is already giving you the information. Let's go ahead and take a look at this part. This is telling you that it needs 2 items in a header, okay? So which one are these 2 items? One is content type, and we said is JSON, and the other one is the key to access our service. Okay, so it would be the same that if we go ahead in here and said, okay, you're requesting a content type, which is going to be application JSON, and we are going to use subscription key, which is going to be my API key that I still did not be careful with this, which I still didn't tell you guys which one is it, okay? And the other thing that we have in here, which is super useful, is this part, which are the parameters. So we also need to send that to Azure in order to get the result that we are expecting. So the parameters, which one are the ones that we are going to use? So the parameters that we need to use are feature that we have in here, which is caption and read. Then we are not providing here the model, the type of the model, but in here we are going to add which one is the model, the latest we want to use. And finally, the language is another one of the parameters we are going to be sending, okay? So these are the things that we are going to be using to go ahead and call this API and consume the computer vision service. Now, let me go back to my code. And what we are going to do, we are going to close everything. We are going to create a new file. So this new file, we are going to name it Azure Image Analysis. So we have 2 buttons. If we remember, we have 2 buttons in our UI. One is to analyze an image, and the other one is to generate. So we are creating right now a file that is going to be image analysis, and then we are going to create another file that is going to be image generation, okay? Now, something that we learned from my dear Rachel is that it's not action, it's actions, okay? And
Yes.
this is the first one, and it was so important that we have Rachel installed it in our package, because this is what we are going to be using in order to communicate with
Yeah.
our API, right? So now
Yes.
what we're going to do now is we're going
I
to
think, hi,
generate.
Ivana.
Yes.
I think most of your codes are hidden.
No, Rachel. You are talking about this one?
Yeah. Okay. I'm saying it now. Yeah, my
Oh,
bad.
so you want to know what is that? No, I'm going to tell you what is that because it's amazing that you pointed that out. And
Yeah,
this one that you're seeing here is my copilot.
that's awesome. That's so nice.
So I'm actually coding, but Copilot is suggesting me code
Yeah.
that I can use. The thing is, I can see the entire code, but I don't
Yes.
know if it is exactly. For example, I don't want the color.
Okay.
I don't want, for example, we can use it because it's going to West Central US API, but this is not the URLs that we had. So it's not useful
Yeah.
for me
Sure.
right now. We will use it
Yeah.
later, okay?
But
But
it's a good. Yeah. It's a good suggestion, especially for maybe someone that did not have any idea of how their code should be like, or other ways they can expand their code. Be like, so it's nice.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So as you can see, it's super useful. If you have the possibility to go ahead and try it, go to GitHub, and if you have an account, you can enable and make use of Copilot. As you can see, I have it enabled in here. So that's pretty helpful. And I also have the chat of Copilot, which is something that probably we can use it at the end for him to explain what we did. Okay. Now the next thing that I would do is to create a try. Why a try? Because we are going to call an API. And what happens when you call something on the internet? Sometimes it works because you have internet working correctly, but sometimes it takes more time and sometimes it doesn't return what you are expecting. So I'm going to say, okay, try to go to the API. And if something wrong happens, grab that error and show it to me on a console. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do in here. But now we have the most important part of our code, which is how do we consume that API? And this part that we have in here is going to do the magic. Why? Because we are going to try and start creating the different information that we need to say to send to the API. So first of all, we have a cons that we said we call it our endpoint, right? And right now we have our endpoint information in here. So I'm going to grab this and I'm going to paste it in there, right? Are you following me, Rachel?
Definitely. And I'm learning a lot. And I hope everybody listening also are learning a lot from this. Yeah.
Awesome. Then we are going to have the API key, which I still did not show you guys. But then we are going to have the URL. And in this part, Copilot is telling me, okay, you already have an endpoint. Take a look at this. He already knows that there is an endpoint that I can use. And it's calling Vision version 3.0, but the version that we have actually in here is the version is different. It's not the one that Copilot is suggesting. So everyone that
Yeah.
says, okay, Copilot will take programmer's job, you can see
Yeah.
that
It's
won't
actually giving
happen.
you like, yeah. Hi, Ivana. It's actually giving you like a sample of what that next step is supposed to look like. You understand? So you have an idea. Okay, I just have to add an end AP endpoint plus the link. So yay.
Yeah, it's giving you examples. I mean, you can use it. That's why you still have you still need to know how to code in order to use Copilot. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have okay. Now we need to go ahead and make the call to our API. Now I'm going to accept this suggestion from Copilot. Okay. I just click tab and it coded everything. Right.
Yeah.
Now, if we go ahead and take a look, we already have this. We already use this. I'm going to delete this. Now we need to have our header. So we have two headers. We have the subscription key, which is in there, and the content type, which is in there. So awesome. He coded me. He saved me a lot of time. But there is something that is not in here, okay, which are the parameters that we also need to send in order to get the answer that we need, okay? So where do we put that in here? I always have this issue, parameters.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
And we have three different, no, take a look at this. This is suggesting me again some parameters that were they the same? No, they were not. Okay, so I already have coded in here some example. of the parameters that we are going to send, which are the ones that I just grabbed from the site that we were managing, right? So we have the feature capture red and the model version list and the language in English, right? So I guess we have everything over here. Now we need to go ahead and use this file and call that function in order to go ahead and consume the API from Azure. And in order to do that, we will need to add some variables. So why variables? So we had in the UI, remember that we had an input in here in which we are going to grab information from there, or whether it is the URL of the image we want to analyze or the prompt that we want to send to OpenAI, right? So in order to do that, we are going to create, we are going to add a use state from React in which we are going to use, we are going to make that use to get, sorry, sometimes that happens that I speak too fast. I'm trying to say a lot of things at the same time.
Yeah, it's
well,
fine.
so this is going to help us to work with our variables and assign them different values, okay, during our development. So I have two variables in here. One is the image URL that I have also the set image URL, and then I have the result. The result is the one that is going to come from the service, okay? But my app.js is still working by itself, so it doesn't have any call to the other file that we have. Why do we need to add it, or what I suggest to add it right now? Because Copilot knows that I'm adding another file, and when he knows that I'm adding another file, he will make suggestions, also trying to understand what is happening inside that other file. Okay, if I don't add this, probably the recommendation that GitHub Copilot is going to give us are not considering that is something happening or another function inside that file. Okay. Now the next thing that we will do is go ahead and add information to our input. So two of the information that we need to add, first of all, is assign or grab or indicate which one is the value that is going to have the content that is going to be inside of there. And what's going to happen once that content changes. So this is the code that we're going to use in there. So the value I'm going to say is going to be the image URL, the variable that we had in here. And then once someone types a URL or someone types a prompt, that's going to be assigned to that variable. Okay. Now, the other thing that we need to do is how are we supposed to call the API if it is not by clicking a button? Okay. So we have two buttons in here, and we are going to use the analyze button because this is the computer vision, the one that we are building. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to click that, and it's going to call the handle image analysis function. But I don't have that coded. That's why it is in red, okay? But why did I put it first? Because now I will go ahead.
Hi, Ivana.
Yes.
Yes, I want to ask you a question, especially for our listeners that, okay, they are not, their day-to-day is not being a professional developer or a professional coder. So what do you think about this code you are using right now? Do you think it's something difficult for someone who does not know how to code to pick up?
No, it's pretty easy. Actually, if you are building something to use in a production, it's going to be a little bit more secure than what I'm building. You need to consider other things. For example, the UI. We have a very simple UI.
We do.
I would create a much more amazing UI. But okay, I was saying that now that we have the handle image analysis, Copilot is already indicated that he is suggesting for you to create that. So I don't have to type all the things. He already knows what I'm trying to build over there. Okay. So right now that I have that, what I'm going to do, since this button is going to call Azure Image Analysis, which is going to call our API, I'm going to create a try. And this is something that I suggest always do, I suggest everyone to do, which is try to send the error to your console. Because if something is happening, you already have everything in your console and you can go ahead and try to solve it. Now, I could go ahead and type what's going to happen if I go to call the Azure Image Analysis. But I told you that I added in the import the analyze image file because I know that Copilot is going to suggest exactly what I need. So that's it. That's what I need. I'm going to go to analyze the image. I'm going to say my image URL, and it's going to get a result from there, right? Now, what else do I need? So let's think together, Rachel. We created the file. We
Yes.
created the necessary things in the UI. And now we click the button. It's going to Azure. Okay.
Yes.
But what is missing? Any
Yeah, I
idea?
think I think there's one question I want to ask you before we talk about that. In the learning paths, we have different stages. We have different stage by stage of what to build. We have where you get to work on the design, the UI, which we did. At least we tried. The design is not that much, but it's okay. It gives you an idea of how it's supposed to be like. So this particular
Mhm.
stage you are working on right now, what stage is this?
Oh, this one is the analyze image. This one is the part of we are trying to go to consume. And I'm sorry, I saw a comment from John on the chat that you
Yes,
asked. Let me know, John, if that's okay. Is
yeah,
that
I
big
saw
enough?
it, so I wanted to tell you, yeah.
Okay, great. So basically, this would be the first step. Once we create the UI, we are building the first part, which is consuming the computer vision resource. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So what I was
Okay.
telling you is that we are still not indicating the application where to display the results. That's what we are
Yeah.
missing because we have an
Yeah.
input, we have a button, but we don't have a possibility to display the results. So I'm going to put
Okay.
a function here that's going to display those results, but I don't have it
Okay.
coded. That's why it's in red. So what I'm going to
Yeah.
do, I'm going again to let Copilot help me code oh my gosh, let me code what I need. Okay, so what I did in here is, okay, I said, Copilot, I want to create a function that you want me to, that I want or I need to display the results, and this is what I will have. Now, inside that, I will go ahead and say, okay, what happens if the results you get are null, then return null, or else I will return something. So I will return HTML. This part is I'm embedding HTML inside this div. So I'm adding code in here that is going to happen once this happens, okay? And what exactly do I need to add? I'm going to add, just because I want to see at least a little interesting result, I'm going to add a title. Now, I will go and send the puppy to computer vision, and I want to see it again. So I want it to display an image which will be my puppy. And then I want to display also the JSON results of the call that I will get, basically the analysis of what's being displayed on the image. But in order to this to have the display exactly the results that we need to add some information to it. For example, for the image, I don't want to, if I am sending to Azure a huge image, like, I don't know, 5,000 pixels, I don't want that image to be displayed 5,000 pixels on my browser. So I'm going to indicate which one is, for example, the width of that image that I want to use. So I'm going to make sure that everything's displayed correctly, as I can see, okay? And in here, I'm saying, okay, the source, which is what is going to be displayed, if it is a URL, if not, it's an image URL. So if
Yeah.
it's not a URL, it's going to display the information that is inside the image URL, okay? So
Hi,
basically,
Ivana.
yes.
Yeah, while we're talking about images and source, do you have to actually pick up that link to that cute puppy to put in here? Or where are you getting your URL from?
So as I said, in this case, the image URL will be the puppy, okay? Because
Okay.
that's what we are sending through the input. But in the other case, if we are using the prompt to generate a new image in the Lee, it's going to be a URL, because
Okay.
the Lee, I will show you that in a moment, displays an image as a result of calling that API. Okay.
Okay. So it's possible to create other images. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yes. And
Yeah.
finally, I'm going to display the result on the JSON result of the call that we're going to get from the API. So hopefully everything turned out fine. I'm going to be here, Carlota. Let's hope this works. I was telling Carlota, guys, that every time I make a demo, something happens.
Fingers
Something
crossed.
does not come out as we expect it to come out. So let me go ahead and take a look at where do we have our puppy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have in here what Visual Studio just launches, which is our site. I will go ahead and copy the puppy URL in here, and here we have. So I will paste my image and I will say analyze it. Okay, it's not analyzing, guys. I told you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening. Great. It says the warning, value property value. Did you mean value with a
Hi,
lower cost?
Ivana.
Okay. Yes.
Hi, Ivana. For our listeners, maybe this is the first time they are seeing this. How are you able to go to that other page at the right-hand side of your screen in the web, on the web?
Well, let me check. Let me see. First of all, this one.
Yes.
Oh, so if you go ahead, let me close it. If you click in here and you put inspect,
Yes.
okay, it will display. This is the console. That's why I was sending all the error that if we get errors.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you catch the error, but I already know which one is the error. And it's
Okay.
something that I said, okay, I don't want to show to anyone until the end of the demo, but I never gave the key to my service. So this was never going to say, I don't have the keys to open the service, okay?
Yeah.
So let's go to here. And if you guys are hoping to use these keys, I'm going to reset this one after we end up this call, so you won't be able to use it, but right now I'm going to use it in here. Now, important thing, it is not, we don't suggest to use the endpoint and the API key in the code. I'm going to, if we have time, I'm going to show you where you need to save it in order to be more secure. But right now, since we are testing this locally, we will use it like this, okay? So let's go ahead, I saved it, and let's go ahead and try to run it. Carlota, think of me, make good wishes for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's running.
So let me, okay, wait a second, because this is the old one. I don't know where is the new one. Is this one? I think
yeah, I think there's a new one. Oh, you can try that again. Let's see.
We will do it again. I prefer to do it again and not try to test something old. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Great. So we have the URL of the puppy, and we're going to use it inside our app. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste it. Okay, please. Hey, we did it! Yay!
Yeah.
So we have our
Definitely.
puppy, and this is telling me that there is a puppy sitting in the grass. Okay?
Yeah, and I think, hi, Ivana.
Yes.
I think there's also one thing I am noticing on the screen right now is that when you go below the screen, can you scroll down?
Yes.
We have this, we have the widths, we have the heights, like the description of what we are seeing on the screen. How is that possible?
It's the same thing. Do you remember that I showed you? No, this one's the one that was not going.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you remember that when we did the call to the API, this was the result. So basically what I'm doing in my code, I'm just displaying exactly this. If you can see, this is exactly the same than what my app is getting in here. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
basically
nice.
I'm
That's
displaying the
perfect.
entire information. Okay?
Yeah.
Now let's go ahead. So this is the first part of the demo. Now we need to go ahead and try with the lead, which is, if you guys want to know, is one of my favorites. We'll see why. I don't know if you know, Rachel, but I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yeah, huge what?
Star Wars fan.
Okay, Star Wars. I'm not
Yeah.
actually, yeah, I'm not a very good movie watcher because when I'm watching movies, I just scroll through. So,
Not a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
So in here, what I used to have in my portal that I have open, it was my computer vision resource that we just created in order to analyze. So I'm going to go to the same resource. Now here I have my static web app, which is the one that Rachel created. I have my computer vision, and now we're going to create the Azure OpenAI. So as Rachel mentioned, this is something that you need to request access to, okay? There is a form. Let me go ahead, and if I can do it pretty fast. So you can go ahead and request access to this service. Let me see if I have it over here. If not, okay, 1 second. I
Yeah,
don't have it. No, yes, no, I don't have it.
yeah.
If you have it,
And
Rachel, go ahead,
no,
please, and
I
put it in the
no,
chat.
I do not have it right now. But the best place to check for the form is by going through the learning paths. The
All
learning
right.
paths for this particular challenge. You're definitely going to see the link there and apply for Azure OpenAI. Yeah.
Awesome. So we have
Yes.
15 minutes or 10 minutes, I think. If my copilot over there, Jay, you can tell me how much minutes do I have, that would be awesome. So now I have my resource group. This is, okay, 15, awesome. I have my resource group in here. I have my region. I'm going to create the Azure AI resource in the same region that I have been working with. So I'm going
Okay.
to say Azure OpenAI Learn. Let's use that
Yeah.
name.
And
And
hi, Ivana.
yes,
The resource group you are using is the same resource group you used for your Azure Static Web Apps, right?
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. So if I
Okay.
want to
Good.
delete the entire project, I just have to delete my resource group and I will do the rest. So once I have all the information, I will click next. Next, this information is in case you want to select specific network in which you want to use the service. I'm going just to say next. If this is if you want to tag and try to find everything by tag inside your Azure cloud, this is again, I'm going to click next because for this session, I think it's a little bit too much information. But then we are going to create it. Hopefully this is not, it's going to create it pretty fast, hopefully. If not,
Yeah.
I'll keep on talking. So what I will
Fingers crossed.
show you, yes, what I will show you guys after it's created is the OpenAI Studio, in which we will have the possibility to play around with a lead before actually using it. And do you remember that I had, where is my notepad? Do you remember that we have this this notepad helping us with the information of consuming the computer vision resource? Well, we're going to do the same with this one. So the resource is ready. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So we are inside the resource, and we are going to use this one, which is go to Azure OpenAI Studio. Now, inside here, you have the possibility to use ChatGPT to try and create your bots and add information to your bots and everything. But as you can see, there is the option of the lead in here, okay? And in here, you can see that you can display, this is an example that is in here. They have different bears in colors, but what I will do is, you're in Malta, right, Rachel?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's see if he can create a Malta flag. Okay,
Okay.
it takes his time, but it's going to generate one image, and hopefully it's going to be the Malta flag. Argentina is easier. Argentina is easier. Okay, access
Okay.
net to evaluate the future or wrong app. Okay, this is something that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Let's
And we can try
try.
something
If
else.
not, no, I have a backup. I always have a backup because Azure usually sometimes does this thing to me. Okay, there we have. See,
Yeah, we have it
we
there.
have
We have the
is that
red and
your
white.
mouse?
Yeah,
Yes. And as
I
you
don't
can
think
see,
I don't think there's a plus on it, but that's fine. It's red
ah,
and white.
this is something
Yeah.
that I was testing before. You can see I'm a Darth Vader fan. I put it Darth Vader with a puppy. It created it.
Yeah.
But in here we have the view code part, and in here you have the information that I was telling you that we are going to use. So since we don't have that much time, I'm gonna go to something in here, which is going to let us do this a little bit more fast. So what do we have in here? We have the API base that we have in here, which in this case is going to be different because this is a demo that I already had. But let's go ahead and replace this information in here. Okay, this is our API base. Then we have our API version, that is the one that we have in there. Then this is the body that we are going to send the service. We have a prompt, which is what we want to create. And here we have the prompt. That is your prompt in here, and you have the size, which is this one, and finally a number 1 in here. We will figure out why we send that in another call. And then we have in here the endpoint that we are going to be using. So that's the information that we have from this example that Microsoft is providing us, okay? And what are we going to do right now? So we're going to our code, and we need to create the new file in which we are going to be calling that API, which is the image generation. We did the image analysis, and now we're going to do the image generation. And as Rachel mentioned, it's Axios, not Axiom. I'm going to do it again. And then what we're going to do is, again, we're going to create a function that is going to be called inside this code. So what I have here is a function that we're going to create. The name is generate image, and I'm going to send the prompt. As we just created one that says create the Malta flag or Darth Vader with a puppy, that will be our prompt, will be the sentence that we are sending to the service in order to get the information from, okay? And now the other thing that we need to do that we already did with the analyze image is having our information that we need to send to the service. So we have this information, so which means that we need to create all this in our code, and I'm going to do it as fast as I can. Let me go ahead and grab it here. So we have our API base, we have the version, we have the body that is in here, we have the endpoint, but I name it URL. This is basically the same that we did in the analyze image that we had, but the only things I'm not putting the information in here. So let's go ahead and go to our service. Okay, 1 second. Where is my service? It is in here. So I could go ahead and grab this from here, or you can go to the Azure panel, and I will paste it in here. Then the other thing that we need is the key, which I have it in here. Okay, 1 second. That's the key. I'm going to reset it. I set it again. Then this is because I didn't use it for everyone to know. Now the next thing that we need to do basically is to, since we are calling a service an API, we are going to do the try catch as we usually do, and that means that we need to display the error in our console. See, now if we have any errors, we will get the results over there. And finally,
that's nice. Hi, Ivana. That's actually really nice. Yeah.
It's useful because sometimes you don't see which one is the error. And then what we are going to do here, you can later go ahead and take a look at the video and see it pretty clear. We are going to use Axios to call our service with all the information that we have. And it's going to give us a response that's the one that we are getting as a result of this function, of this file, okay? Now, the other thing that we need to do is go ahead and do the same that we did here. We need to add the event to our bottom because right now it's not generating absolutely anything, okay? But do you remember what I did before I started coding everything about analyzing the image? Do you remember? No.
Before analyzing the image, okay, I think I can, you had to go to Azure OpenAI. You had to go to Azure OpenAI.
And the other thing is we need our copilot. So in order for our copilot to know how to help us, we are going to also reference the file that we just created. So now what we're going to do is add the event that we need to our bottom. And it's going to be a non-click as the one that we had before. And we're going to name it handle image generation. The other one's handle image analysis. It's not that different. And I'm going to put that event above display results. So What I'm going to let is Copilot help me create the code again, like the last time. And but there is something different in here before it starts suggesting all the things, which is there is something different between this and this, that in this case, we do need the prompt to be sent. So what I'm going to do in here, I'm going to create a variable that's going to be my prompt. Yes, prompt is well written. But this prompt, do we know which one is our prompt? Yes, it's going to be, Copilot is telling what I'm going to do already. So it's our image URL. And our image URL is
Yeah.
actually the value we have inside our input. So whenever we paste something in our input and we click the
Yeah.
generate button, the generate image is going to go to this event, which is going to assume it's going to be the prompt, okay? And then finally, what we're going to do is to try, because as we said, we are talking about a service. And here we are going to go to the generate image that is in the other file with our prompt, and we are going to get the result. And in case we got an error, again, we go to the console, okay? Now, do you think we managed to accomplish everything? I tried to do it
I,
as fast as I could.
I think maybe there's something remaining. Is that what?
Hope
Yeah.
it works. Hope it works. It will be the first time, I think, that
Yeah.
everything works correctly. Um,
Okay.
so let's go ahead and okay, it opened it up in another window.
Okay.
Okay, okay, I have it in here. So now let's say we know that already know that the analyzing image is working, but let's use some Darth Vader eating ice cream.
Yeah. Hi, Ivana. I was thinking of asking you what you are doing right now. Like, is it only a URL that can work, or if it's possible to actually just explain what you want? And voila.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, you can paste
Yeah.
whatever URL you want. It would analyze it, and the same, any prompt you want, it will create your image. And in here you can see the result on how the image is being returned. And we did it. I think we
Yeah.
did it. But we're missing a couple of things before
Yeah.
going. I don't know how much time do we have, but
Yeah.
if I have time, please, if we have 5 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead. If you want to, the only thing that is missing is basically to move your keys to the .n5. This is pretty easy, so you can take a look at online on how to move this. It's pretty easy. And finally, the other thing that you need to do in order to complete the tutorial that we have in the learning path is to publish this to GitHub. So in order to put this to GitHub, so basically we need to add it. Okay, let's go ahead and put this update. And then I'm going to push it just to show you guys what is happening in GitHub. And then we will go, I think we have some questions or a trivia over there. Where is that?
Yeah.
Where is
I think we do not have any questions. Carlota has already gotten us covered. Yeah.
It's not going to come with us. Okay. Anyways, it will appear here once you push the information, and it will update the information that you have on the static web app on Azure, and you will see the site that we just created on Azure. So that's it. We can create another video if it's necessary to clarify all the things that we have left. And okay, no questions. Carlota.
Yeah.
So are we doing the, can you guide me? Are we doing the trivia or not? Or are we just saying goodbye to people? Hope
I
it was.
think there's an opportunity to actually learn so much. Like I said from the beginning of this session or presentation, you get to learn and build at the same time. And while we are talking about this particular Learn Life session, it has different projects you can build on. And the next one, it's happening December 6th. I don't know if you can bring that up.
I'm trying to, as soon as I
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure, that's fine.
I do have it. I
Okay.
have it. There.
Yeah. Yay. So it's actually a challenge that you get to build a speech translator app. So you get to build an application, which is amazing, and also with AI. So I advise you to actually follow this series from the beginning to the end of it. Yeah, definitely
And
follow.
also, yeah, and also if you want to make the quiz, you can. There is a quiz over there in the final part of the entire challenge. If you can take it, that will help us because that will let us know if you guys understood us or not, right?
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was a pleasure,
Okay.
Rachel, to
That's
share with
perfect.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. And I learned so much from your presentation. I learned a lot. Yeah. And I actually saw what Azure OpenAI can do. At least that's just a bit of it because I know it can do so much. And it's so amazing. It's really, really
It
amazing.
is.
And
It
if you
is.
are listening, yeah.
So thanks to everyone. It was a pleasure, and bye bye, Rachel. See you next time.
Yeah. Thank you. And bye, everyone. Have a lovely week. Yeah. Bye.